Well, that's like, no kidding. We pulled into the gas station this afternoon. I had to run in and grab something. Lincoln's with me, Whitney's with me, and Lincoln goes, "Can I go in?" I was like, "No." He's like, "I want to go in." I was like, "No." And he said, "But I want to." And I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "People in ice water want hell too."
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Homestead HQ, where we talk about homesteading and preparedness. This is Shelly.
And I'm Jason. Guys, we appreciate y'all listening to the podcast. We've been super busy. We're planning a festival. We're in full-blown festival mode, kind of getting everything planned. We always feel like we're under the gun, don't you, Shelly?
Always.
Even cutting it back to one time a year, I constantly feel like I'm under the gun and planning all this stuff. So, but before we get into a bunch of stuff, guys, go check out VacMasterFresh.com. On the last podcast, we talked about all the pork that we ran through mine, and it didn't miss a beat. But go check those guys out. Use the code Homestead. That's going to save you 15% on your order, whether you're getting a table. They do have some pretty cool stainless tables, and I think I have ordered the right stainless steel table that I wanted. So hopefully the stainless steel table will be here shortly. So I ordered one. I think it's the right one. So
great.
So yeah, that thing's coming in. But yeah, they've got stainless steel tables, their chamber sealers, their butchering knives. Just go check it out. You've got all their bags and all that stuff. But use the code Homestead to save 15% off. And then also, the major sponsor, the best store ever, is a sustainability store. That is on our website. Go to KentuckySustainableLiving.com. Check out the store at the top of the page. And right now, we're planning on more stuff. Right now, we've got our medical kits and our first aid supplies. You can check all that stuff out. And if there's something on there that's not there, tell us what you want, because we most likely can get it for you.
There's something on there that's not there?
Yeah. Well,
if there's something you want that's not there, let us know, because we can probably get it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like, no kidding. We pulled into the gas station this afternoon. I had to run in and grab something. Lincoln's with me, Whitney's with me, and Lincoln goes, "Can I go in?" I was like, "No." He's like, "I want to go in." I was like, "No." And he said, "But I want to." And I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "People in ice water want hell too." It came out like that. And Whitney goes, "Don't you mean people in hell want ice water?" And I said, "I don't know." And I looked at Lincoln. I was like, "Sit in the car." And Lincoln's laughing. He has no idea what's going on. And he's like, "What does that mean?" She's like, "Nothing. Just stay in the car."
She's like, "I don't even know what it means."
Yeah. I was like, "I'll be right back." So, but yes, if there's something that you do not see in the store that you would like us to get and carry, let us know, and most likely we can get it for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, go check that out. It's on our website. And it's under the store feature, and there's right now there's medical kits and first aid supplies. So
I actually got a request for a medical kit that we don't have in the store. I need to talk to you about that later. So I'll be able to help these people out. It's an organization in Glasgow that needs some medical stuff.
We can do that.
Yep.
So, oh yeah. What have you got that's happening at your place? And I'll be right off. There ain't much happening at my house. So.
Oh, let me tell you, it's like a 3-ring circus up in here. Like, there's always some crap going on at Two Old Crows Homestead. Oh my gosh! So, Randy, I've had some problems. You know those little sensor lights that come on in your vehicle?
Yeah, the best. You know how to fix those?
Tape,
electrical tape,
right?
Fixed.
So I was going to work one morning, and this isn't what's going on the homestead, but I was going to work one morning, and 2 of those lights came on, and it shut off my cruise control. I drive with cruise control all the time. And so because these 2 lights came on, one was for the anti-lock brake system, and one was for, you know, that one where it's like shows a car with little squiggly lines behind it.
Yeah, the traction.
That thing. Yes. So those 2 came on, and those are both ran by the same sensor, and each one of your tires has this sensor on it. So we ordered the sensors, and Randy's been out there. He's got the 2 back ones fixed. He's still working on the 2 in the front. And my truck runs fine, but I can't run cruise control because those things are messed up, which makes me mad. So anyways, he's up there working on it. I came home from work one day and he's working on the truck, and I hear the biggest ruckus in the backyard. Like, my pigs are losing their mind, right? And you know how far, like if you're standing at the front gate right here, you know how far it is back to where the pigs are at.
Yeah.
So I'm standing at the gate and I keep looking back there and I'm like, something doesn't look right. And I stand there a little bit longer and I holler for Randy and I said, I think we have a problem. And he goes, what? And I said, Pumbaa, it's a big male that we still have left, has ripped the hot wire off and busted into the female cage or female pen. And I see his big hind end, like he's too close to me. He should be on the other side where the boys are located, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I think Pumbaa is in with the girls. And he was like, no. So we go out there. Sure enough, he has busted through the gate and he is in the process of impregnating the girls. There's 3 girls out there and 1 boy that's been castrated, right? And I'm just like, oh my God. So we spent, I don't know, probably 2 hours trying to get his hind end back over to the other side. He was not having it. I mean, it's February and apparently love is in the air. I don't know, but
Cupid shot him.
Yeah, he was not going back. And so, and he's still in there. Like, what difference does it make now? He's already done the deed or whatever. And so he's still in with the girls. And so I called my brother and I said, hey, you need some pork? And he goes, well, yeah, it's been a while since we, because he came over and processed one of our hogs with us and we gave him all the pork or whatever. And he goes, it's been a while. And I said, I have 2 females out here that need to be processed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want them processed before it gets too far along, Yeah. And so him and his friend are coming over, not this Monday, but the next Monday. So a week from now. And they're going to, the 3 of them are going to get out there and do that. So that'll just leave Miss Piggy. And she's had every litter that she's only had like 4 or 5. And I can deal with that a whole lot better than I can deal with 20.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so we still need to turn Pumbaa into dog food, but that needs to happen quick because I'm about done with him.
Oh, yeah. We're going Cooney Coons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I found somebody in Smith's Grove that has a litter of Cooney Coons and they're ready to sell them and everything.
What is it, Bill?
Some guy I want to get a donkey from, but go ahead.
Bill, I think it's Bill Warner that comments on here quite a bit.
Yes.
We need to talk to him too.
Yes, we do.
So literally, all right, between the truck and the pigs, it sounds like you're like back in the 70s because you're riding with no traction control, no anti-lock brakes, no cruise control.
That is exactly what Randy said. He said, Shelly, the truck will still run. It'll just be like, when we first started driving, it'll be like that.
But then you got like the summer of love, like hippie love happening in the backyard with the pigs. I mean,
yep.
I tell you, I turn all my traction control and all that crap off when it snows because I love like sliding around and everything. I mean, and then also people that do not use their cruise control on the interstate are just totally retarded.
Randy doesn't drive with cruise control.
Does he not?
No.
Oh,
and it's not with him. It's more, I mean, Randy's a professional driver. I mean, he's been a truck driver for I guess like 30 years now.
Yeah.
But with him, it's all about maintaining control of the vehicle and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, if we take long road trips, he might use it, but driving back and forth when he goes to work every day, he doesn't use cruise control.
See, well, I only use cruise control when I'm on the interstate.
Yeah, that's when I do too. But it's like totally ticked me off that I have no cruise control until this gets fixed. But
gee, I don't know. What is it too? Yeah, cruise control. I use it. Daggum, I was going to say something. I done forgot. Oh well. But
so what's been going on at your place? You said nothing.
Well, yeah. Well, it's always a 3-ring circus here, but a lot of the stuff nobody cares about. I mean, the dog. Well, our new dog. What's her name? I forgot the stupid dog's name. Malone, the dog. The Labradoodle, whatever it is. Those American Bressy chickens. Excuse me, those American Bressy chickens are just out. They're just like feral chickens. I've got to catch them because they're down in the food forest wreaking havoc. But apparently Malone likes to go out and stalk these chickens when you take her out. Like she'll get down and like belly crawl, and then she gets close to that rooster and just like pounces on his butt and just rides him through the yard. And this rooster's like running for its life. And I mean, it's hilarious. And then
I don't know if that's a good idea that your dogs are going after your chickens.
I don't know. Maybe if I can get them to do something with it. But yeah, it's a 3-ring circus. The dogs are running around. This is going on. I was feeding the pig bones, all the bones that were left from the pigs and all that stuff, feeding it to the dogs, the working dogs out there. And then you see like 3 or 4 big buzzards sitting in the trees. And they're like, oh, we're going to get something. And like they come down and the big dogs are like, no, you're not getting this. So they're running after the buzzards. Lincoln had the flu, so he felt like crap. And then I stayed home. My wife had to go somewhere for work on Monday, so I stayed home with Lincoln. I'm trying to get some stuff done with the festival and everything else. And every time I'm doing something, he comes in and just busts the door down like the Kool-Aid man's like, hey, Dad, what are you doing? I was like, dude, I'm on the phone. You can't do that. And he's like, oh, sorry about that. And I'm just like, give me a few minutes. Daddy will come open the door and let the dogs in there while I'm talking on the phone. And I'm just like, this is why I need an office down here. This is why I do the podcast down here, because you would see just stuff running by me every time. So, but yeah, Lincoln had the flu last week, like a touch of it. It wasn't bad, but now he's got an ear infection.
Everybody where I work has been getting the flu. It's been taking everybody out. And it's like, it's bad. Yeah. Like most of the people that I know at work that are getting it, they're down for like a week. It's like knocks you out, I guess. Oh yeah. And I mean, so I've been working on festival stuff, the website stuff, and then my business. So it's just been that, and there's not a whole lot. I don't have like a whole lot to do right now. I mean, I've got everything kind of the way I want it here. And then I was putting a bale of hay out yesterday. And usually when I put a bale of hay out, we're putting rounds out. One of the rounds was kind of busted and starting to unroll just a little bit. And typically what I do where I've got the animals right now up by the driveway, we're just bale grazing hay. So then in the springtime, I've got all that carbon down, all the manure and everything else, and it's going to green up super good. Usually I'll holler at the animals, let them come down here to the barn. I'll throw them a little bit of grain. They eat a little bit of grain, and then I can run up to the curb in the driveway and bring a bale of hay, cut the net wrap off of it, drop it, and get out before they come back. Ginger did not want to do that. So Ginger wanted to run. Like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah. So she's running behind the tractor, like headbutting this bale of hay, busting it open as I'm driving. So I've got like a 12 or 1,300 pound ram just hitting the back of the tractor as I'm driving. I'm like, golly. So I really didn't get the bale where I wanted it. I just dropped it and drove off. And I'm like, have your stupid hay and leave me alone. So yeah, it's a 3-ring circus here too. I mean, we're in 2025 and not the 70s.
Right.
So I've had a check engine light on my truck, I don't know, for 3 years now, and it's probably an oxygen sensor. I'm not going to mess with it. The truck runs fine. Screw it. So have you got a great news story?
I don't know about great. It's kind of funny, I think. Have you heard about what's going on in Pennsylvania?
No.
So there's some company called Pete and Jerry's Organics, and they sell eggs. So they have a brand of eggs that they sell to stores and everything. And so let's see, this story came out February 5th. It says in Antrim Township, Pennsylvania, it says the heist of a 100,000.
Yeah, I heard about that.
100,000 eggs from the back of a trailer in Pennsylvania has become a whodunit that police have yet to crack. And then it says 4 days after the theft, the law enforcement say it could be tied to the sky high cost of eggs. They don't have any leads. Trooper First Class Megan Frazier, a spokesperson for the Pennsylvania State Police, said on Wednesday, we're relying on leads from people in the community, so we're hoping that somebody knows something and they'll give us a call with some tips. Police are also following up on the possible witnesses and looking into surveillance footage that could help them identify the perpetrator as they race to solve the mystery. It says that the average price per dozen eggs nationwide is $4.15. So if that's the average, that means somewhere somebody's selling eggs for over $8.
Yeah.
I think the 100,000 eggs were snatched from the back of a Pete and Jerry's Organics distribution trailer on Saturday about 8:40 p.m., according to the police. And they are worth about $40,000.
There's a lot that we could talk about with that.
Well, I mean, so, okay, just like seriously about this. I know you probably had jokes out the wazoo, but seriously.
No, I'm being serious.
If they are eggs that were going to a grocery store, they have to be washed. Yeah. They can't be, like farm fresh eggs that haven't been washed. Even if you buy eggs at the farmer's market, they're supposed to be washed. If you keep them, in your house, if they don't have dirt on them or poo or whatever, you can keep them there for, 30 days or whatever, and they'll be fine as long as they still have the bloom on them. So these eggs, if they were going to a grocery store, they are probably about to go bad because those eggs don't last as long. Pasteurized or whatever the washed eggs, they don't last as long as farm fresh eggs that still have the bloom on them.
Well, they'll last just as long. They just got to be refrigerated.
Yeah, they have to be refrigerated.
Yeah.
But even being refrigerated, farm fresh eggs last longer.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to be unloading these, whether it's on like the dark web or I don't know, the black market, whatever you want to call it. They're going to have to be 100,000 eggs. Whoever stole them is not going to be able to eat through those in the amount of time before they go bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I'm looking at is first, you're grabbing something that is super fragile. So it's not like you're grabbing wads of cash. So
right.
Second, what was 100,000 eggs?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have a reefer trailer to get those things in. That's a lot of labor to grab 100,000 eggs. And then if they're in their distribution trailer, it's already marked whoever's package, whatever the company's name is. So it's not like you're going to put them in a different package and be like, no, these aren't the ones that were stolen kind of thing.
Right. And I went and looked on Pete and Jerry's website. Their eggs, they're very colorful, the whole packaging of their carton and everything. So you're right. They're going to have that stuff on them. People are going to know where they came from.
Yeah. I mean, and you've got a limited time to get rid of these things. It's super fragile. I don't know. The only thing I can see, and it's not going to be somebody that owns a bakery, because 100,000 eggs is a lot for a bakery to run through. And I don't think most bakers are, crime bandits or anything.
I know, right?
The only thing I can see is the place is probably not super well secure. It would be easy to get in there and do that, as opposed to going and robbing a bank.
Well, I mean, the dude driving the truck was probably like getting dinner or something, or parked outside his house getting ready to leave for the next day or something like that.
There's a lot of other stuff I would steal before I stole eggs.
Yeah, I don't know that I would do that either.
Well, no, if I'm saying and I don't steal stuff, but the whole thing is if I was going to go to a life of crime, I would not be like I'm a master egg thief. It's kind of hard to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I
don't know. So like the story that I'm looking at, they've got these pictures on there, and it shows, like at the grocery store, there is Lucerne Dairy Farms cage-free grade A eggs, $6.39 a dozen. And then here's one that says Happy Egg free-range eggs, large grade A, $15.49, and they're on sale for $13.49.
Yeah.
This is at Price Lock or something. I don't even know what store this is. This is crazy.
I forgot Whitney had to buy some because she's got a ton of cakes and cookies to make for Valentine's Day for people, and we didn't have enough eggs, so she had to buy some from Sam's. Sam's in Bowling Green is limiting to 2 packages a person. So
like 2 dozen, or are they the 18 count things?
I think they're an 18 count, an 18 or a 24 count. I'm not sure, but she was doing the order and this kind of stuff and doing it. And she's like, yeah, they're limiting you to 2 packages per person.
Well, I know that Walmart is, the last time that I was at Walmart, they were selling just the regular Walmart brand dozen of large eggs, or a little bit over $5. If you got the 18 count, they were $7.50 or something like that. And I have had, which, I mean, we're still in winter right now, but right now our egg production is picking back up.
Yeah.
Like through the month of December, we were only getting maybe 4 or 5 eggs a day. And we had a couple days that we only got 2. But now we're back up to getting almost a dozen eggs a day.
Yeah.
And so people at work, they're just like, hey, Shelly, we know that you have eggs because, I'll sell eggs. That's fine. But they're hitting me up for eggs because they don't want to pay the prices at the grocery store.
Oh, yeah. Well, I heard somebody at one of the local auctions where they sell small animals and all that stuff, that there were people there that had never had chickens, and they were paying exorbitant amounts for hens at this auction.
Wow. So, and I know that people are looking for, they don't want chicks. They want hens that are already laying.
Yeah.
They don't want to mess with chicks.
I mean, that kind of goes into the whole thing of the preparedness stuff. Yes, we don't have the current, the past regime of Biden in office anymore. We've got Trump. And then there's a lot of people that are running out and being like, oh, Trump's in office, he's going to save us, everything's great. He ain't going to save a whole lot of stuff. I mean, he's just, there's still problems going on and stuff like that. Just because he's in office, the egg prices didn't automatically go down and stuff like that. But people are still like, oh my gosh, Orange Man, save us. That and paying stupid prices for chickens.
I don't understand the whole, just because there's a Republican in office, we're all okay now, so we're going to stop.
Yeah. Oh, people will do it. I guarantee it. So, all right. I guess we've cracked enough jokes. That's like my dad joke for the day. So,
the headline, I don't know if I read this when it started, but it's the headline for this. It says the heist of 100,000 eggs in Pennsylvania becomes a whodunit that police have yet to crack.
Yeah, you said that, and I giggled when I was like, I got it. So, it's the dad jokes. All right, main topic. And we'll preface this. Shelly does a lot more of this than me. I don't participate in this a lot because I find it boring. And I just don't.
Even though it's sustainability.
I know. I suck at it. I'm going to admit that's one of my faults. One of my few faults.
Oh, whatever. Y'all, if you want to get with me, I can give you a list.
Whitney probably keeps a running list of all that.
Oh, I'm sure she could like quadruple my list.
Okay, well, look at this. Talking about this, she's worked there. I don't know, 7 years now, and they like told her they were redoing something, and they're like, we need an emergency contact person, and she was like, I don't have one. And they're like, you got to have an emergency contact person. She goes, my husband never answers his phone. Do you really think that if you call him for an emergency, he's going to answer the phone? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, every time she calls me, I answer the phone. But in her mind,
do you answer numbers that you don't know?
It depends. If it's spam, if it pops up spam. But anyway, so I come in the other day, and she was telling me all this, and she's like, you just really never answer your phone. Every time I call, you never answer your phone. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, when do I not answer my phone? Like, now sometimes I will be on top of a ladder or have thin set or paint on my hands. No, I'm not going to answer the phone when I'm 30 feet in the air hammering something down there. I'm not going to answer the phone to ask me what I want for dinner. So I'm like she was all about it, and I'm like, I always call you back after I don't answer my phone. So I kind of made her mad when she called me twice yesterday, and I made sure I was working at my desk, and I made sure to answer it on the first ring. I was like, that's the first time today I've answered my phone. And then she called me back to ask me something again. I was like, this is the second time I've answered my phone today. I'm 100% today. And she's like, shut up. So yeah. So apparently I never answer my phone.
So basically everyone who's listening to that, what that means is that you need to pray for Whitney. Anytime you get a chance, pray for Whitney.
Yeah. But she made it another year. Tomorrow is her birthday.
Oh.
So she's going to be 25 again this year.
Wow. Well, I tell her I said happy birthday.
Yeah, I will. And it's funny, she asked Lincoln and I what kind of cake we wanted for her birthday. And I'm like, and she bakes amazing cakes and everything. I told her, and she's like, the only reason I'm going to make my own cake for that is because you're going to go get a Baskin Robbins cake, and she hates those. And I love the Baskin Robbins cakes. And so she was like, you want like a nice like cake, or do you want a cookie cake? And of course, Lincoln's like, I want a cookie cake. So she's making a cookie cake for me and Lincoln for her birthday.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, what we're talking about today is
after we get out of that rabbit hole.
Right. Getting ready for your garden. Right now it's February. I think we just finished the first week in February. It is time to start seed starting inside if you're going to do that. And I'm going to talk about the importance of that in just a minute. But right now is when you should be planning what is going to be in your garden. You should be getting your garden area cleaned up. Next Saturday, my grandkids are coming over, and we are spending the whole day out there cleaning the whole garden area. You should be thinking about what you need to start inside and what you can start outside when it's time to go out and do all of that. You can start gardening in February. You don't have to wait until, Mother's Day to get that done. So as far as planning your garden, be thinking about, we talked a little bit about this in one of our podcasts about pantry stuff. I can't remember what episode that was, but I think it was like way back in the beginning. We talked about pantry stuff. Nicole Sauce does a great presentation about how to plan your pantry. So you can get as far in the weeds as figuring out if I have this list of meals that I ate in the month of February, and I want to duplicate that for 12 months. What do I need to make that happen? Well, then you can start planning your garden. If you've got to have, 36 jars of spaghetti sauce because you want to eat that like every other week, or however that figures out, well, then you got to have tomatoes and whatever other vegetables you use to make your spaghetti sauce. And then you've got to have enough of those to fill 36 jars. Yep. And then you've got to have enough tomatoes to can tomato sauce, or pizza sauce or make ketchup, depending on whatever the recipe is that you want to plan for the whole year. So then you need to start looking at yields on those tomatoes. And do you plant, like sandwich type tomatoes that are really juicy, as opposed to like Amish paste or San Marzano that are not as juicy? They're more meaty and they're better for sauces. There's a whole lot. When you start getting into planning this, there's a whole lot that goes into it. Don't be overwhelmed by that. I know that, I feel like I'm to the point now where I need to start looking, how many tomato plants do I need to make my tomato stuff? And Rainey and I don't even eat like sliced tomatoes. It's not something that either one of us like, but we make all kinds of tomato sauces, and we eat lots of chili in the wintertime. We make our own spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, all of those things. So how many tomato plants am I going to need to make all of that stuff that I want to last for my family for a year? And that's what I'm kind of in the process of doing right now. So planning your garden could dig into planning your pantry and, looking into that. It might, get into that world as well. But you also want to think about, there's all different kinds of ways to do things. And, just talking to people that I know that are good gardeners and learning from them, find somebody like that and let them be your mentor, because there are a million different ways to plant things. I promise you. Even if you start looking at YouTube, it'll be like, plant these 5 things in February, or the best way to get the biggest yield of tomatoes. And people are talking about hugel mounds and raised beds, or planting in the ground, or, building compost, all of those things that play into that. Find somebody who you feel like is a good gardener, who you see, they're like always having stuff, an abundance of yield and all of that, and see if they'll mentor you and talk to you about this. Okay, so we're in February. Some of the things that you should be starting inside: tomatoes and peppers. Peppers they take a long time to germinate. You may need to have a heat mat, because that heat mat will help them to germinate faster. They're not going to germinate if it's cold in your house. They need warmth to do their thing. So, and you need to start them inside. So when it gets time to plant them in the ground in May, you've got a good, plant that's ready to go in the ground. If you plant, pepper seeds in the ground, it takes a long time for that to happen. You want to have an established plant that you're going to put in the ground. So peppers, definitely. Tomatoes. Right now, Jessica came over last weekend, I think it was, and her and I started a bunch of seeds, most of which are already germinating just a week later. But we started a bunch of the herbs that we want to have in our herb garden. And I'm really excited about that. Some herbs, like I've got rosemary out there and lavender, I think, they'll come back from last year. And I've got strawberries in our herb garden and stuff like that. They'll all come back from last year. The comfrey that I have out there, these are things that you only have to plant one time. But we started a bunch of herbs, like let me think. We got thyme and dill and oregano and parsley. There's like, I think we did 20 different plants in there. And then we also started some cucumbers. We started the peppers and the tomatoes that we want. Mostly, I think we only did like a couple plants that are, like tomatoes that you put on sandwiches, because again, Josh, my son-in-law, he's like the only one that eats them. All of the rest of the tomatoes that we did were San Marzano and Amish paste. And then the kids, so our 2 oldest daughters homeschool their kids, and they teach like a unit, or like you have math, English, spelling, all of those things. One of the subjects that they teach is sustainability. So they have projects that they do throughout the year. So right now the kids are learning gardening. And so they each had, I've got a bunch of trays in there, but they each had half a tray, which is like 12 plants. And they went through all of our seeds and they picked out what they wanted to start in the seed tray. And most all of their seeds are sprouting. They're going to be really excited when they see them next weekend. But then they're going to build raised beds at their place, at their house. And we're going to teach them how to make compost and all that stuff. They're going to work on that. They're going to take rabbit poo home from Mima's house and put that in their compost and all of that, which just rabbit poo doesn't need to be composted. It can be put directly onto your soil. And then they're going to plant all of their seeds that they started. And that's just going to be a whole unit lesson that they're doing. But
that's pretty cool that they're doing that and teaching them that. I mean, that stuff is a lot more educational, I think, than teaching some of the crap that they teach in public schools. So I think it's really cool that your kids are doing that and the grandkids are getting to learn a bunch of that stuff. Because it's got to be fun for them when they stick some seeds in some little bitty trays and then a week later they come back and they're like, oh, man. So
well, we were going to church this morning and Jackson came over because he lives next door to us. He's one of our grandkids. And he came over and I said, hey, you want to see what your seeds are doing? And he came in there and he was like, oh, my God, look at all the stuff that's sprouting up. He was super excited. Him and Troy planted rattlesnake watermelons because they're called rattlesnake watermelons. And then they planted lacinato kale. Lacinato kale is dinosaur kale. So, of course, they had to plant dinosaur kale. So they were really excited to have their sprouts coming up. But, okay, so those are the things that you need to be starting inside. And I live in 6B, zone 6B. Jason and I both live in that zone. So you need to do this according to whatever your zone is. Especially if you have a really small window, if you live at a higher latitude, I guess, than what we do, a different zone higher up, and you have a smaller window, a growing time window, you need to be starting most of your stuff inside. Yeah. Because you want a very good established plant to plant into the ground when it comes time to do that. And you may even need to look at container gardening and that kind of thing, and having grow lights and all of that. And that could help you sustain a year-round garden. But so you definitely need to be starting your peppers and your tomatoes inside. Some of the things that you can plant in the ground right now in zone 6B, you can plant them in the ground: lettuce, spinach, Swiss chard, kale, broccoli, cabbage, kohlrabi, beets, radishes, peas, Asian greens. All of those things you can plant in the ground. Now, you may need to put one of those coverings on, over it, get some of those green poles that you stick in the ground and put, like a wind covering over it. But those things will grow like crazy because they love the cold weather. They're the ones that when you need to plant them early, because when it starts getting really warm, they will bolt and they'll just burn up. You won't have that anymore. So those are things, those are the earliest things that you can plant. And then also the things that you can plant in the fall. And one of the things that I learned, because you can do carrots too. One of the things that I learned is that it's great to plant carrots in the fall, in the late fall, and let them kind of overwinter, because when the ground gets cold, it makes the carrots sweeter. I was watching, I don't remember who it was. I was watching a gardening. He's a master gardener or whatever. It was a gardening show talking about this. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And he's out like in January pulling carrots out of the ground and talking about how delicious they are, because every time it would freeze, it would increase the sweetness of the carrots. Huh. So those are all things that you can be planting in the ground right now and actually getting, which radishes, you can get, you can harvest those like within a month. You can start getting those things. Another thing that I read today when I was trying to make a list of what we were going to talk about, you can plant, because I'm always like, you plant lettuce, because I love salad stuff. And so you plant all those greens that you love to have in a salad, and then, it gets warm and those things bolt and you can't have them anymore. And you're like, I don't want to go buy fresh greens at the grocery store or whatever. I'd rather have my own. And there's ways to do it. You can plant them in a shaded area and all that kind of stuff. I just have not perfected that yet. But one of the things I read today was people talking about taking those greens from the garden and drying them and turning them into powder and then adding them to like smoothies and stuff like that. Like they were calling them power greens. And, you have that powder. And so you get all the nutrients from those. And that's just a way for you to store that. That's, not, because it's not like you can freeze lettuce and stuff like that. So you could dry them and then grind them up into a powder and use them later on. I thought that was a neat idea to do that.
Oh yeah, people do that with all kinds of stuff. I mean, they'll either dehydrate or freeze dry a lot of that stuff. And I've seen people do strawberries and everything like that, and then add it to the smoothies and do all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, heck, one thing I've done is tomato powder.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah, I've done. Yeah, and especially when you're processing tomatoes, that leftover stuff, or even if you blanch them and get the skin off, you can dry that skin up and then crush it up and then add it, to thicken, make a paste or something. I do that all the time.
And that stuff is stout. And when you freeze dry it, man, you take a little bit on your finger and it'll whop you good. It's like, boom, tomato flavor.
Yeah. But that's really just getting ready for gardening. That's really all that I have right now. Here in Kentucky, we don't plant our gardens. Usually we wait till right after Mother's Day weekend. That's usually that line that you wait for. I have planted stuff before that and regretted it every time. So now I'm just like, okay. I mean, like I gave you that list of things that you can plant in the ground right now. You can do that kind of thing. You can, there will be somewhere around April maybe is when we'll plant our potatoes, like mid-March to into April. So that's okay to do. But then anything else like the peppers and the tomatoes and all that stuff, anytime I planted them before Mother's Day weekend, there's always been a freeze and it's always killed them and it always makes me mad. So now I don't do that.
Yeah. I'm going to try potatoes again this year. I tried them a couple times and it sucked and I get just pissed off about it. And I'm like, screw it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to eat meat and eggs and do it that way. So, but I mean, and I admit it, I'm horrible at gardening. I don't like it. I suck at it. It's not my forte. But I kind of set mine up with the food forest where I'd have some perennial stuff instead of just annual stuff all the time. I will go down there in spots that I can fill in and, do tomato plants and stuff like that. We'll put in a little bit, but I'm not just gun-ho about it. I don't eat enough vegetables for it to matter. As long as I'm growing meat, I'm fine. So. Yeah. I'll grow the bacon to put on the salads. It will be my deal. So, but I will plant some stuff and I will document what I plant and what I kill and how I suck at it. So, and then everybody
We're planning on having a huge tromboncino garden this year and a huge pumpkin patch because we feed those things to our pigs and our chickens, and it helps to worm them and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of those things that it's not necessarily something that we eat. I mean, I like pumpkin bread and all that kind of stuff, but it's more for our animals than it is for us.
I need some more of those tromboncino seeds.
I actually had to buy some from Mike Sparks.
Did you?
Yeah, because I've given so many of mine away. I think I may have, I don't know, maybe like 50 seeds left, but I bought some from Mike Sparks to make sure that I had enough to plant this year.
All right. That's one thing I want to plant, and I can feed it to the animals and do that. So, all right. Shelly has been the main doer on this podcast because, like I said, I suck at gardening. So, but
hey, if there's anybody out there, if you know anybody who you feel like would be a good addition to our festival, as far as like vendors or even sponsors, give them our information. You can go to KentuckySustainableLiving.com and vendors can fill out the vendor form there. We would love to have you at the festival. So it has to be in like the homesteading world or the preparedness world. But yeah, go check it out.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the more vendors that we can get, the better off we're going to be. The festival is July 18th, 19th, and 20th. And also, we got two of our bigger speakers that are going to be there. Bear Independent is going to be there all weekend long. He's going to be speaking. William Bond, the permaculture consultant, William's going to be back. And then also on Friday, the 18th, Refuge Medical is doing a training class in the morning and a training class in the afternoon. So you've got two opportunities to come in and take a Refuge Medical training class.
I thought they were doing that on Thursday.
No, it's on Friday.
Okay.
They're doing that Friday the 18th. They're offering two classes. And actually, I tell you, Bear is one of the teachers that's going to be teaching the class. Because I talked to them and it's like, yes, Bear is going to be one of the instructors for the class.
That's pretty awesome. Y'all want to come sit in on a class that Bear's teaching? He's got the knowledge, man.
Yeah, he'll be teaching that class along with a couple other guys. Refuge is going to have it up on their site in the next day or so. To sign up for that class, you'll need to go to Refuge Medical's website and sign up for that. We're going to put a link on our website to where it'll take you to Refuge's site to sign up. But to sign up for that class, you've got to do it on Refuge's site. So we've got a ton more planned out for us. We're going to be pretty workshop heavy on this one as far as free workshops to where you can come and learn a bunch of great homesteading and preparedness skills, to where all these workshops, the smaller little 2-hour workshops, are all going to be free with your ticket to get in. So there's not going to be a ton of extra money spending on that. But we'll have more as time gets closer for sure, and we nail down a lot of stuff. So that's all I've got.
Exciting.
Yeah, that's all I've got. So you got anything else, Shelley?
I'm good.
All right. Guys, go check out the sustainability store. Check out VacMasterFresh.com. And if y'all need anything else, leave us a comment, and we will see y'all on the next one. Bye.
Bye.